Breaststroke, taking a look at Lily G here in lane 6. I'll play the whole race through and then talk about a couple things after that. Okay, so go back to the start here. You are out a 34, back a 38 for a 112 mid. Pretty consistent with what you did in the prelim part of the meet. And compared to your best time from regionals last year, the difference is, if you want to break it down by 50, really 1 second on each 50. Last year out 33 and then back a 37. So in terms of how you swam the race strategy-wise, it's on par with what you did last year. I think it's fine, and I'm not worried about that at all. There's a couple things that you've improved in your swimming, but we have a couple more things to continue to work on. Now, on the start here, I like that you set up where you want to be before the starter says take your mark. The buzzer goes off, and you do a nice job. I think I mentioned this to you before. You do a really nice job kicking this leg up, and it helps you to drive your hips up, and then you get your legs together, and you actually have a very clean entry here. Now, notice the angle you're hitting the water, though, is a little steep. Like, you start to really aim yourself downwards. So we got to fix our trajectory where we're more at a 45-degree angle, and I think a part of that's also going to come with really engaging the arms on the blocks instead of just throwing them up. Luckily, though, you get in a very nice streamlined position here. So it's clean entry up here. You do a nice job with the leg, like I said, and your legs are together. We just got to fix that angle a little bit. Okay, on the pull out here, obviously you're so far away you can't see the pull out itself, but you do a nice job coming up at 12 and a half. It seemed like you didn't fall behind there. Given the angle you hit the water, I think that's actually a very good pull out. I want you to remember that distance when we get to this last length of the swim. In terms of your stroke itself, so here, I want you to notice. I want you to notice your arms and think about what you were doing last year. So when you're coming in here to take the stroke, your arms are right at the surface, as opposed to last year when you're making this whole arching motion shooting over the water. So this is much improved on your arms. Now, what we wanted to try to avoid is having your elbows come this far in. So notice your elbows are there kind of like in line maybe with your belly button, and you swept now very, very low in the water. So what I want you to start to think about here these next 2 weeks as we get ready for the 50 breaths on that relay is when you're sweeping out, you're going to press out so that your hands are they're in line with your arm, but they're pointing towards the lane line. And then from there, you're scooping in the water, squeezing the elbows together, and keeping things in front of you. Like your arms are going to drop back a little bit, but the way you're pinching so low like that, this is a stop and go stroke, and you really are stop and going with those arms when they drop that low. Now, also taking a look here, like I said, remember you broke out here on the start. Obviously, you have a start, a dive, but here you're breaking out probably 6-7 meters off the wall. So we have, I think, to harness, like you have a nice, smooth, efficient pull out. When we're getting tired there at the end of the race, make sure we're really emphasizing our line, a strong push off, and we're trying to get distance off that wall on the pull out. Now, I also want to talk about your hip position. So while you're swimming breaststroke, you do a nice job looking forward and getting an upper body that stays generally on top of the water for the whole race. Now, there's sometimes, especially on the first part of the race, we'll go back there, like you'll notice when you're shooting here at the early part of the race, you're even getting your hips to roll to the surface of the water. As you get more tired, it's going to be very difficult because of the way your head position is going to lie. So, fast forward here. Notice when you're breathing, your eyes are already looking forward before you've exited the water. When you have your chin up like that, naturally your body it follows your head, right? So when you're looking up like this underwater, it's setting up your hips to be low in the water. Now, the reason you want to look up a little bit when you're above the water is because it gets your hips up, right? So it's the same concept. But when your head is this high out of the water, having high hips on top of the water, setting them up beneath you, that's when you have to shoot your head forward looking down so that they now roll to the surface. So you got to shoot and keep your head down here and keep it down. And then as you make your way up, you start to lift the chin. But when we are already looking up before we ever exit the water, our hips are now in a bad position. We get some water resistance there. Okay, so our head position coming out of the water, really harnessing our pullouts there towards the end of the race when we're getting tired, and making sure that we're sweeping out, like I said, the hands towards the lane line, and then scooping in from there as opposed to dropping all the way back. There are a few things to think about. You went your fastest split, I believe, that you've ever gone on that medley relay. The 100 breasts were just a hair slow out, hair slow back. I'm not overly concerned about it. There's some promising things, especially with the way you're recovering over the water. I think that's way more efficient and way better. So I'm really excited to see what you can do on this medley relay. Nice job.